Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aaron. So I'll be sharing with you on this infrastructure architecture. So I presume some of you are already the infra or architects practitioners, or you may be a principal system engineer, network engineer, cloud engineer, or data center engineer. So all these are the common terms that is still referring to the same basic fundamental, which is the infrastructure architecture itself. Right. So let me just begin my topics. So I will just introduce the body first, which is the ISA, and also they have a body of knowledge, because whatever that we learn in all the architecture discipline and the domain are actually originated from the body of knowledge. So let me just begin by introducing who is ISA for some of you who have never heard this organization. So ISA is the Global Enterprise Architecture Professional Body and founded in 2002 in Austin, Texas. So they are focusing on the enterprise architecture profession. So basically you and me who are the practitioners. And of course, the members about 74,000. And I think the key is that they are the organization that who develop the body of knowledge for the architects, which is what they call it ITABOK. And of course, it's non-profit and run by all the architect volunteers, and basically is covering or encompassing the entire domain of architecture, from the business architects, information architect, or sometimes we call it data architects, software architect, or sometimes we call it also application architect, infrastructure architect, and also sometimes it's called technology architect and solution architects. So ISA is focusing of almost for every architecture professional specialization role. So ISA developed the body of knowledge. Actually, ISA believe that we can train a profession. Basically, we can train someone to become the architects. So perhaps you may be doing a lot of or many years of system engineering and a network data center configuration, but you want to become the architects. So basically, ISA have the body of knowledge to bring you up to speed in terms of the industry best practices. How can we become or effective in our role as an enterprise architect or infrastructure architect in this context? So they have a body of knowledge. They have a development globally. They got qualitative analysis, and after that, they have created a lot of the training program. Okay, so the training program, I think, quite a good news. I know that some of you from Hong Kong, Indonesia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Singapore attending this. But for Singapore, I think they got the grant. Singapore government issued a 90% grant, and if you are in the financial industry, you can get up to 95% grant. This is Singapore. And for those in Malaysia, if you are enterprise, Sendirian Berhad, a company incorporated in Malaysia, you basically can attend this training for free, 100% fully paid by the government. Yeah, so if you are interested, please contact our team, because seats are limited for this free training. This is not gimmick, but it's real. So let me just share with you on the 5 pillars on the body of knowledge. So basically, the first pillar, they call it business technology strategy. So this is where architect playing a critical role, understanding both business and technology and how it can help the organization moving forward. Of course, talking here now is about transformation, driving innovation, and of course now about industry revolution 4.0. So all these are very, very relevant, and technology are playing a critical role. And every architect need to understand the business equally as in depth as in technology. The second one is human dynamic pillars. As you can see here on the screen, that human dynamic basically focusing a lot on the relationship, on the office politics, about the communication. So we about, of course, the working in the team and etc. So it's very, very important for architects to master this skill. And the middle is quality attributes. It's about basically our maintainability, security, performance, reliability, etc. Which is very, very critical to the infrastructure architecture role. Because what happened is that we need to provide a robust platform, a robust environment for technology to support and run the business. And the next one is IT environment. Basically, it's about all the necessary practices need to be in place, right? Project management, IT service management, which is also pertaining to the infrastructure architecture. And you need like a governance, COBIT, you need a framework, a TOGAF, all within the IT environment. Then the next one, design skill. So more on the like you are delivering a model in Archimate or UML. So that one also very, very important for infrastructure architect to deliver or show the output of their work. And of course, the specialization of business, information, software, infra, and solution. So in terms of the architecture role itself, so basically architecture drive the transformation. So if you see at the outer layers of this graph, That's where the top one is, they call it thought leadership transformation. So architect need to drive a so-called transformation within the enterprise. We are not sitting in the data center alone by wearing a thick jacket, but we are going there, going out, meeting up a business key stakeholders and understanding their concerns, their needs, and their wants, and what are their challenges, and how we can address that with the technology platform that we have. Then the next one, of course, customer journey is like providing a seamless customer experience. This is also very, very key for architects to be able to deliver value. And the bottom right about skill set transformation. So basically is that we also need to provide so-called innovation within our internal organization. Like now, due to the COVID-19, so everyone need to work from home. So how can we provide the robust infrastructure so that everyone still can work as productive as they are in the office and also at home? Then information transformation is where you need to provide the relevant information for the business decision making. Then got operating model transformation on the left bottom there. It's about basically the business need to change and how the technology can support that. And last but not least, on the left top, is about digital business transformation, because now everyone, because of the COVID, we cannot operate in the normal capacity of the office, but we still need to run the business, because we got so many livelihood that depend on us. So basically, how can we leverage on the technology to bring this change or transformation to the business? And the middle part is where the architects are playing a critical role to drive the so-called the outcome of the innovation and also drive the capability. And this is basically the slide that I often use. Basically, today, without the enterprise architecture, many of the initiative from the strategy go straight to the transformation. If you do that, and basically it's no different than what we used to do 20 years ago. What we need now, actually, we need to have some sort of architecture. We need to understand the model. We need to understand the impact before we can run the transformation. So instead of doing 1 to 3, we need a number 2. So it's very, very critical in the today context, because in the past, I think 5 years, the demand is there, is picking up, but not as high as now, because now people just realize that they cannot just run the transformation project without the architecture. So what happened is that the enterprise architecture is trying to connect between the strategy, between the motivation of the key stakeholders, their goal, their driver, to the business, how the business itself operating or supporting or realizing the strategy that has been set by the senior management, and where the technology, the bottom part, is the role of the infrastructure architect. Now it's like everything need to be aligned. We need to look at the cloud or the sensors, the robotic, and then IoT, and also of course the mobile. Now the network also go to 5G and etc. So how can that bring value or strategic advantage to our business? So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to connect enterprise from the strategy to the business, to the information, to the application and infrastructure, and vice versa, which is what we call it digital connected enterprise model. With that, then we can run the transformation plan and roadmap. It is basically working very closely with the project manager, project management team, as well as with the service delivery and support team in terms of the fulfilling the SLA and etc. So what if I unwrap the layers, the top, this is what you will see. So what happened is that the business and the IT strategy need to be aligned, need to be hand in hand. Then after that, we understand in terms of the input of the aspiration, motivation of the key stakeholders in terms of the architecture. We want to see the impact in the business, information, application, and technology itself. Then after that, we understand the gap, and the gap, we pass it on to the digital transformation team, which is the PMO team, to execute the various project and initiative. So this is basically the essence of the importance of the architecture in the today context. So let me just move on into the more focused topic on the infrastructure architecture specialization. So these are so-called the role of architects. So I think for some of you who have attended my earlier presentation on the webinar on this topic series. So this actually, I just want to highlight again, if you are not a full-time business architect, if you are infrastructure architect, information architect, solution architect, and software architect, your secondary role must be a business architect. You cannot say to the other team that, oh, sorry, Aaron, I'm just the infrastructure architect. I look after the network and the data center. Then if anything you want to know about business, please talk to my boss. That's not the answer that I would expect from anyone carrying the title of architects. You need to be able to explain why you design a certain cloud configuration, certain virtualization. How can that business will benefit from your design? So this is the architect expectation if you carry the title of architects. Yeah, and of course, if you are carrying a title of architects, you can please join also our community, because we run a community in the 5 countries across Asia Pacific. So infrastructure architecture role definition, basically infrastructure architect create and refine architecture, of course infrastructure architecture, and on the server topology, so understand basically all the server configuration, the nodes, the zone, and of course network infrastructure in terms of all the security, the layering, the zone, and data center with compute environment. So you know how to virtualize, how to scale up and then scale out the machine. And all of this actually to ensure that business continuity plan is achieved. And of course, infrastructure architect is also called a technology strategist and design the technology landscape to support the business. So this is the word, the first and the second point have the business word there. So an infrastructure architect need to be able to relate and also to answer why their solution are supporting the business. Then the next one, of course, on the infrastructure architect is also called a technology troubleshooter and looking on the potential technology disruption that may impact business continuity. So these are very, very important summary about the infrastructure architect role. And this is basically about the path, about the learning path. Let me just go through one by one. So if you are infrastructure architect, these are some sort of the expectation, knowledge or experiences that you need to have. DevOps. DevOps today are very, very important because industry is converging in terms of the software development and support. So DevOps is one of the so-called method that are critical today in the supporting the agile way of developing or delivering or managing the configuration of the system. Yeah, so this is something that we do provide that the training. Then the next one is ITIL. ITIL also very, very important now is ITIL 4. So basically about how to fulfill the SLA, conduct the support, troubleshoot any request and etc. So ITIL also are key for the infrastructure architects specialization. The next one is COBIT. So COBIT is about the governance. So infrastructure architect need to know about what so-called compliant with the law, rules, regulation, set up the policy and etc. So COBIT one of the also recommended training. The next one is business architecture fundamentals. This is basically about understanding what are the challenges faced by the business team, how we should communicate with the business team, and also vice versa. So actually, this course number 4 is actually targeting both business and IT people to have some sort of alignment, then give us the platform for communication, and they got a template how we can capture and define the requirement. The next one, architecture core, basically is about the journey, how you establish from the firefighting setup into the establish with the proper architecture in place. So basically a journey of the 17 scenario. The next one, of course, TOGAF. TOGAF also covering all the 4 domain of architecture, how you can define a robust infrastructure architecture that support the business, as well as supporting the application, and also keeping data in the safe environment. So TOGAF is one of the very proven framework for enterprise architecture, and infrastructure architecture is inside the TOGAF 9, which I will describe towards the end of my presentation. The next one, of course, Archimate. So Archimate is where you expose into the notation, because you need to describe your architecture, you need to describe your infrastructure. So Archimate giving you quite number of notation, how you describe that. To get, then I will share with you on this Archimate notation towards the end. Then the next one is TOGAF business architecture, basically to understand about the business expectation, the business modeling, and how we can deliver value of technology. Then this is the BTS, business technology strategy is actually the mandatory before you can take any of the specialization has highlighted at the top bar there, from the business architecture, information, infrastructure, software, and solution. So this is where the infrastructure architecture specialization sit in at the top. So we would recommend that you go through from 1 to 9, but if you have limited time, then you can go number 8 to 9, because you cannot take number 9 without the number 8, which is a business technology strategy. Okay, so with that, let me just continue. So infrastructure architect as a technology designer. So basically, architecture, of course, concentrating on underlying style and pattern, whereby the design actually
relies on the creative element. So basically, architect got two components, the arts and science. So the science is where you can understand, like just now, the framework, the notation, etc. The design is where you can apply. You apply it within the context of the environment. Of course, here is basically the expectation is that how can we deliver technology value to the business. Then, of course, design configuration is also very, very key for the infrastructure architect. And basically, you know, we also need to think through and design properly. We cannot just every time just load or download the software, click, and then auto run to set up. But we need to understand the whole spectrum. We need to plan in terms of the sizing, in terms of the data backup, restore, and etc. And of course, design is also subject to same rigorous for all the architects from business, software, information, infrastructure, and solution. And of course, they got some sort of process in terms of the design. We need to understand the feasibility states. We need to understand the preliminary. We need to come out the detail and also the planning before we execute. So these are some of the quotes that are quite interesting. Yeah, let me just read this for you. A man once approached a well-known surgeon and said, "You make money in a day than I make in a year." That's the reality of life. Yeah. So I don't think it is fair. Is what you do so special? The surgeon replied, "Surgery itself is not that complicated. I could probably teach you to do it in a few weeks. What takes the training and the skill is knowing when not to operate because it can harm the patient. Yeah. And what to do when something goes wrong. Learning those two things can take years. That's why the doctor is charging quite high because they have a skill set. The same thing with the architects. We need to be able to pick up any situation and understand the context and offer a solution. So infrastructure architect also as a technology leader, we are also responsible to lead and influence the team. So from here you can see that how you become a lead, you need to have a leadership quality. You also need to have the so-called marketing or sales skill set to influence team to get the buy-in. And of course, we need to provide the mentor and guidance for the overall ability for the entire infrastructure solution architecture to be delivered. And of course, a leader is when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say we did it ourselves. But I think this is very, very relevant for infrastructure architect. I mean, I work with the infrastructure architecture team, and I can see that among all the architects, they are the one that in most invisible. Invisible means if nothing goes wrong, nobody look for them. But when thing goes wrong, they know who they're going to shoot, which is the infrastructure guy. Because why? Network is down, network is slow. But when thing goes smoothly, nobody care about them. But this is the reality of life. That's why I would recommend that if you're an infrastructure architect, you also need to perform the role of business architect. Then with that, you can do a face-to-face facing with the business team, understand their challenges, communicate, and how you address their concerns. And infrastructure architect also work with other various roles, as you can imagine here, almost with everybody, right? In the project management, from the project management, system, network, to the business, and also all the architects. What we are trying to do actually when we are developing or deploying the enterprise architecture model is that this is actually the real enterprise today. It's very, very complex and all got multiple layers. And each layer itself got the layers of the people, politics, and the challenges itself. So if we see this type of model, it's very, very hard for us to transform. That's why not many organizations can transform successfully. So what do we need to do about this? What we can do is that we are developing so-called using a digital enterprise map, using Archimate. So we need to develop the motivation and the strategy layer. Then from there, we understand what are the business impacted. So we look at the business layer. Then after that, we look at the application, which are the application that's supporting the business. Then after that, we look at the technology. So infrastructure architecture is in the term of value chain at the level 4. So in order for you to do it right at the level 4, you need to go back into level 1, which is at the motivation and strategy layer and the business layer. So from there, you can understand why the application needed certain sort of the infrastructure setup. Then with that, you need also to have information or data architecture, where glue the business, application, and technology layer together. Then after that, of course, with all the implementation and also the roadmap about the how are you going to transform to run the transformation project. So let me continue further into the topic number 3, infrastructure architecture fundamental. So in terms of the infrastructure, these are some of the quality attributes that are very, very important. So although the infrastructure architect typically working very closely with the vendors, and typically is that more on the configuration, but I think this is not an excuse for architects to understand deeper the impact of the technology to the business, rather than just buying the latest, the coolest, latest series or version of from the technology vendor that have that features. But we need to be able to understand in terms of the business needs. So we need to understand in terms of the availability, scalability, recoverability, security, and etc. So these are very core quality attribute for enterprise architect to possess. The next one, of course, data center. So data center itself basically is about how we can do realize the business, the data, and the application requirement into the infrastructure domain. Because what happened that we already understand the business, data, application. Now we need to put it into the platform. So this is where the infrastructure architects playing a critical role. And of course, to understand the consequences of design decision, why you design it this way. What if you move it into the private cloud? What is the impact to the other business user? Can they access it? And how about the balancing requirement? Can I scale up and scale out? So these are something that we need to know. The next one, of course, core data center area like resource consumption. We need to know about the power, cooling, physical space, etc. And of course, the data center technology and the facility is also very important in terms of the proximity, redundancy, and enterprise solution. And of course, data center architecture is not about building a physical location with multiple racks, but it's about how you're going to design the network itself. And of course, talking about data center, they got multiple tier here, but I think most of us are in the tier 1 and tier 2. But tier 3 and tier 4 are very rare. So far, yeah, I only come across a few of them because the implementation from tier 3 to tier 4 are very expensive compared to tier 1 and tier 2. But these are something that are very basic for us to understand. Because what happened is that we need to know the context about our business. Do our business need tier 3? If not, we can live with the tier 1, just be it in the tier 1. Because the tier 1 is about 1 day plus downtime in a year. If the business can take that a 1 day downtime in a year, maybe during the public holiday or certain New Year Eve, then they can go for tier 1. Tier 2 is more stringent requirement, and tier 3 and tier 4. So all these are very critical in terms of the choice and option to make the decision. Basically, it's all related to the business decision. If the business said, no, if our system down 1 hour in a year may cost us 1 billion, then you go for tier 4. Because the configuration of tier 4 are very specific and high throughput, and also very expensive. But if the business justification is 1 billion 1 hour downtime, you can go for tier 4. But if you downtime for 1 day and nobody look for you, you can go for tier 1. So this is basically something that we need to make a decision. Then in terms of the infrastructure site selection, so basically is that we need to know where we are going to do the hosting, and of course we need to know all the selection in terms of the balance, security, in terms of the how far it is if anything happen, how far it is for us to go and troubleshoot if say the network is down. So we need to look into that factor. And of course, we look at the service dependency, natural disaster, and legal issues. So basically, we need to find the location that is whether affected by flood, earthquake, or typhoon, and etc. So we need to know all this very well when we plan for the infrastructure site selection. Then, of course, for the disaster recovery, is that whether we have the disaster recovery site within 100 kilometers. So if you have, then what are so-called the pro and cons? So we need to be able to line up this option, because if anything less than 100 kilometers, I think it's quite risky. And of course, some of the situation is that, yeah, some of the yeah, I know some of the banks and etc. that center is like within 50 kilometers, but some of them also they do a replication to the offices to another country. Yeah, so this also need to be considered carefully in terms of the, if this really disaster happen, how can we recover? How fast can we recover? Of course, the next one is like if you have another across continents, across country, more than 500 kilometers, what are the consequences in terms of the pro and the cons? So these are something that the architect need to think through, because we cannot just follow whatever recommended by the vendor and etc. But we need to understand that our business need this.